Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are on the subreddit r/am I the jerk, and we're gonna jump right in and we're gonna find out if the posters really were the jerk in the situation, or were they not, or were everybody the jerk, or was nobody the jerk. So let's find out. Our first story is, am I the jerk for saying I would stay at my mom's? I would stay at my mom's or wouldn't stay at my mom's? Because I wouldn't stay at my mom's if I had to share a room with babies. So I'm already a little uncertain by the title of this. But let's jump right in and figure out what's going on here. I am 16 female. My parents split up before I was born. Custody is I live with my dad most of the time and my mom every other weekend, plus random staying with her if I want. Recently, my dad got engaged to Hannah, and she and her kids are moving in. Hannah's kids are 9, 7, and 3 2-year-olds, so she has triplet 2-year-olds. Oh heavens. She's widowed and they live with her full time. This made room arrangements a bit awkward, since there's only three kid bedrooms to go around. Dad and Hannah talked it over last night without consulting anyone. Dad and Hannah came over this morning to announce with my dad that they'd decided, apparently, how they wanted to do everything. Apparently, they want the 9 and 7-year-old to each have their own room, and me to share with the triplets because my room is significantly bigger than the other ones, and I don't stay there full time. I said their plan was stupid, that they wanted me to share with 3 toddlers, and they said that they don't want me to move, but it's the biggest room, so other people should share. I said I didn't care if I switched rooms, because the more logical move would have been the triplets in the big room, 9 and 7 share, and I get my own. I said I would take the smallest room until I move out. They said it would be more work to move my things to another room, and their idea was more quote-unquote practical. Then they asked why I was so pressed, since I didn't live there full time. I said not staying in the room 4 days a month. Only 4 days a month? Yeah, okay. This is sounding a little, okay, yeah. Was a sorry excuse to land me with a bunch of toddlers. And if they seriously planned on doing it to me, I would make the custody arrangements change, and I'd stay with my mom for the most part. I know she doesn't mind, because both them remind me I could stay with her whenever I wanted. This made Hannah cry, because she just wants her family to blend together nicely, and apparently I was ruining her plans. How old did she say she? Okay, so she's 16. Okay. This made my dad mad at me, and I'm not allowed to talk to Hannah until she forgives me. Oh, poor Hannah. How old is Hannah? She's acting more like a 16-year-old than the actual 16-year-old. I didn't know this meant so much to them, but I'm still saying I'll stay with mom longer if I have to share with toddlers. But my dad made me feel a bit guilty. So, am I the jerk? All right. Now, at first I was thinking, all right, maybe you are being a little bit of a jerk. You know, because you're really not there a lot, and, you know, it's really not that big of a deal to share. I mean, yeah, it's 3 2-year-olds, but I mean, if it's just a couple of days, here and there. What's that big of a deal? But no. It's the other way around. You are there way more than I initially thought. You're not there only a few days out of the year. Whew. I wouldn't, as a 16-year-old girl, and I don't know what sex these toddlers are, it really doesn't matter, to share with 3 toddlers. There is a lot that goes on from the age of 16 to 18 as a female, even as a male. And I wouldn't want to share my room with 3 toddlers. I think it was very practical that you suggested that you move to the smallest room, give your room to the 3 toddlers, and just suggest that the 7 and 5-year-old, or however old the other 2 were, share. I think that was a really good compromise. I don't see why your dad and your stepmom don't actually entertain that, because it's a more appealing situation in the long run. I mean, even if it is only for just 2 years, what are they missing out on? I'm very confused by this. But no, OP, I don't think you're the jerk in this at all. Update. I'm at my mom's house at least for the weekend while the adults try to figure things out. But my mom said I was welcome to live with her full time. And if I really wanted, we could change the custody agreement. Also, thank you for all the replies. I really wasn't expecting this to blow up as much as it did. Update 2, because somehow I'm still getting responses to this. Everyone talked, but Dad and Hannah are still with their decision, and I've decided to move to my mom's long term, and we're going to switch the custody around, so I'll only see my dad every other weekend, and I'm going to sleep on the couch while I'm there. Obviously, nothing is set yet, but that's what we're going to do. And thanks, everyone, for being so nice. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. You're definitely old enough to make that decision about what you want to do with this custody arrangement. And yes, I would not share my room with 3 toddlers. I would rather sleep on the couch. Period. Next post. Am I the jerk for deleting my cousin's wedding pictures that I wasn't paid for? Ooh, juicy story. Already a divisive title. Deleting wedding photos. It's divisive. My younger cousin's wedding was last December, and she asked me to be the photographer for the wedding. I'm a semi-professional photographer. She told me what types of photos she wanted, and I gave her a quote of just under $1,000. Oh my gosh, that is so freaking cheap. Wedding happens, I take the pictures, I edit them, then wait for payment, which we agreed I'd get in full after the wedding before sending any pictures. $1,000 to take the pictures and edit them? Golly, girl, do you even know how much money you just saved? However, suddenly she didn't have money and wanted to set up a payment plan for $1,000. A payment plan for $1,000 to pay it off in 8 months and still get the pictures now. So she wants the pictures now and she'll pay them off in 8 months. Oh no, she'll cut and run. She'll cut and run. She won't pay you. It's not that I don't trust her, but once you start opening such doors, you'll find it hard to close them. So I told her we could do the payment plan, but the photos will only be released when the full amount is paid. Didn't even add interest. Oh no, couldn't be me. I'd add interest. I would add interest. She wouldn't get the photos. There'd be interest. February rolls in and she asked to at least see samples to confirm that they were worth the price. It's $1,000. $1,000. He's semi-professional. A professional photographer would have cost you thousands of dollars, girl. Just pay the man or woman or whatever, but just pay them. I sent 4 pictures and she says she'll show them to her husband and get back to me. Cue silence for a week or 2 until I asked for an update. And she responded saying she's still discussing it with him. For 2 weeks? I told her this was getting long and she must just start paying now. And she ignored me again. Yeah, you're getting shafted. So I'd saved the photos on my roommate's flash drive temporarily while I was waiting on an actual hard drive. Ooh, interesting. June came around and he texted me while I was at work saying he needed to use it and took it from my room, but saw that there were still files on it. He couldn't move it to his laptop because it didn't have space, thus him needing to use the flash. So he was asking if he could delete the files. I said fine, and he deleted them. I still had about 20 of the photos saved on my phone from when I was choosing/sending the samples, so I just explained the situation in a message to her and sent the existing photos free of charge. Oh my gosh, how many photos did he actually take? Oh, I would be devastated. Oh, but this is the very definition of F around and find out. That was last month, excuse me. I need to take a drink. I'm still getting flamed for this. She's been slandering me online, and it's quite literally caused a division between our families, and to the point that our moms don't talk now. I obviously feel bad, but also feel like, given the circumstances, I wasn't really in the wrong. Though still acknowledge that it's obviously very crappy for me that I would have wished to avoid. What do you guys think? Am I the jerk? Oh. No, I don't think you were the jerk at all. I think that you were getting shafted by this woman. She obviously she was trying to get you to do it for free. I mean, even though she, in the moment, agreed to pay you a paltry sum of $1,000, afterwards, when she realized how much money she was having to shell out, she's like, oh, he's family. Surely I can get him to send it to me for free. No, lady, that's not how this works. You agreed to pay. You need to pay. Poor planning on your account does not mean an emergency on mine. Our next post. Am I the jerk for calling a guy an idiot for traumatizing his kid and getting him in trouble with his wife? This sounds spicy. I was at an observation deck yesterday. It's one of those that has a glass floor as part of it. There was a guy there trying to get his wife and kid to go on the glass floor so he could take a picture. Kid looked to be about 3 and terrified. His wife wasn't interested either. When she went to the bathroom, he picked up his kid and went on the glass floor. The kid was frozen stiff and looked pale as a ghost. The dad got his selfie, though. When he walked by me, I was telling my boyfriend that if we got married and had kids, and he did something as idiotic and traumatizing to our kids, I'd be pissed. The guy overheard me and said I should mind my own business. I said I wasn't talking to him, but I did repeat myself and say he was an idiot for putting his kid in such a scary place when the kid obviously didn't want to be there. By the time his wife had come out and she heard us arguing, then she got peed at him for doing this against their kid's obvious desire. We walked away, but my boyfriend said I shouldn't have started crap with this random guy terrorizing his own kid. So am I the jerk? I definitely think that there is nuance to things like this. Me being a parent myself. Because there have definitely been times when I have had to try to coax my child to do something that he has clearly not wanted to do, but I know as a parent that it is not going to hurt him to do it, but he needs to be exposed to it. Clear examples would be like trying to get him to eat something that he may not particularly care to want to eat, but he needs to try. And to an outside observer, it may look quite bad, but it within the context of what is going on in that moment, it's not. But I think there is a very big difference in trying to get your child to try a new food that they may or may not particularly care for, but they wouldn't know until they tried it, is very different than seeing that your kid is scared in a situation and then forcing them to be a part of that thing. So that is a very different context. You are definitely allowed to have your own opinions of how others parent and how you would parent if and when you become a parent. But definitely be prepared that if that parent hears you and they don't agree with what you have said, that they are then going to feel very I'm not sure what the word here is, very attacked, and they might say something to you. Not everybody obviously reacts the same way when they feel attacked. So I don't necessarily think you were the jerk, but I definitely see why this parent reacted the way they did to what you said. Because this has happened to me. My child was incredibly young when it happened. He was around about 6 months old. And he was at the age where he had finally learned to sit up by himself without needing any kind of help, which was very good. We were so happy for that. But he was also in the process of teething. And goodness gracious, he was teething on everything he could get his hands on. And my husband and I, we went to Walmart to do our grocery shopping. And I am definitely of the mindset that kids need to be exposed to germs, because otherwise they'll never develop antibodies. Because if you shield them from everything, they're definitely going to get more sick. So our son was sitting up in the cart in the little didamaflagi thing, the little seat thing. And both my husband and I were, the cart was just right behind us. It's not like we'd left him completely alone or anything. But we were both searching for this one particular item that escapes me right now. There's no way I'd ever remember what it was, but neither of us could find it. That's why we were both looking for it. And while we were both looking for whatever this thing was, that is when my child seizes this opportunity while we are both not looking to start teething on the handlebar of the cart. And I hear a distinct very haughty, very like I know better than you type of noise from behind me. And I turn around and there's a lady that has come from the other end of the aisle, and she has a daughter that looks somewhere between 5 and 7. It was incredibly hard to tell how old she was. And she is looking at me in the most disgusted way that she can possibly look at me. And then she looks at our son. So I look at him, and he is still going to town on the bar of the cart. And she says, I would never let my child chew on that. Do you have any idea what has been on that? Where it's been? What kind of germs are on it? And I look at her and I say, well, if he's never exposed to germs, then how is he ever supposed to develop antibodies? While also still trying to get him to stop chewing on it, too. And she looks at me and snubs her nose, turns around, and huffs off in the most entitled way. And it made me feel very judged as a parent, like I was doing something horribly wrong and everything. But yeah. You're definitely allowed to have your opinion as a non-parent, as a parent, but definitely be prepared for comeback from the other person. I think this is our last story. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter she shouldn't complain about being poor because she chose to be a teacher. Whew, I may have some thoughts about this because I am not currently a teacher, but I am married to a teacher, and I used to be a teacher. So, let's strap right in, shall we? My husband and I, both late 50s, have 3 lovely children. James, 34, Maggie, 33, and June, 32. My husband is a lawyer, and I have been a paralegal since my last child graduated, so we make a good living. James is also a lawyer, so same firm as his dad, and Maggie is now in law school, so all your children followed in your footsteps. After being a part-time paralegal while her 2 children were young. Just because your children followed in your footsteps doesn't mean, or some of your children, doesn't mean all your children have to follow in your footsteps. Just so you know. Her husband is in engineering. Engineering is a good field. And does quite well. I'm not trying to brag. Yes, you are. But we all do quite well. And it is relevant to this posting. No, I think you're just trying to be entitled. June is an elementary school teacher, and her husband manages a restaurant. So you set up all this with your other children saying, oh, they did this. It's kind of like saying, oh, my child went to this child went to Harvard, and then my other child, they only went to a community college. So what? At least they both got an education. They're both very hard workers, and I'm proud of June for doing well at a very hard and vastly underpaid job. Yes, teachers are very underpaid. However, she is always jealous and complaining about how hard she has it. She complained we have a cabin in I have no idea where that is, Michigan, somewhere in Michigan, and she has a starter home that we gave her money for. She's complained about her sister having nice clothes, her brother's house in the lake, her husband having loans for his masters, us having nice cars, you name it. She constantly complains. Every single time she comes over, she says things like, must be nice to go on a vacation, must be nice to get new furniture, etc. Late last night, she started again complaining that she can't afford to go to wherever in the Michigan house, and it must be nice to be able to afford gas and still be able to wear fancy clothes. Okay, so there is something to say about being able to live within your means while having certain jobs, like being a teacher and your husband having, managing a restaurant, but also not being an entitled jerk. I'm not saying she's being a jerk. I'm saying that this complaining is definitely not where it's at. I mean, do I wish that, we could afford to do certain things that, it'd just be nice to have more clothes, period. I don't care if they're fancy or not. Yes. Would I like to be able to, do more things with my son? Than I do now. Yes. I'd like for my husband to be able to do some of the things, that he likes when he actually has time, but we just don't have the money for it. I'd like to make improvements on our house, but we can't because we just don't have the money for it. But there are ways to say that without sounding whiny, and like it's everybody else's fault, I guess. Because that's what it sounds like. It's everybody else's fault. Oh, if only. I snapped. I told her her constant complaining was getting old. We gave her the same help with her college and grad school as her siblings, and she knew when she chose her career what the salary would be. I'm going to call BS on that with knowing what the salary would be, because throughout the years, I don't know how it has been with Michigan, but I mean, there was a good 5-6 years where my salary as a teacher was frozen. And I mean, I didn't know that going in, that 1 year after I became a teacher, that my salary was going to be frozen as basically a first-year teacher for 6 years. And only then, after that, would I get a a rise in my pay. And even after that, didn't get great pay increases, but I got pay increases. But you can't count on that. You can't know that that's what's going to happen, because every district is different. Every state is different. You can't know with 100%. Yes, this is absolutely what it's going to be when you decide to be a teacher, what your salary is going to be. It just doesn't happen. I told her I am very proud, but she knew what she was getting into, and this attitude makes her family not want to be around her. Now that I would actually believe. She was furious and left, screaming that her siblings are golden children and that she was just as good. Now, yes, she is just as good as her siblings, but I don't believe that they're golden children. I think that is just her perspective. I tried to tell her that wasn't true, but she wouldn't let me get a word in. She won't talk to me, but she called her sister, who was quite put out by the whole thing, but on my side. My husband, however, said I should have just let it go, and my mother is very upset and is acting like I did something terrible. So am I the jerk? No, you're not the jerk. Actually, your daughter is acting more like the jerk than you are. Maybe she didn't realize how difficult it was going to be once that she decided to get into education. And now that she is, and, all these things are just piling on one after the other. The only way she knows how to deal with it is through this complaining, but that's definitely not the way to get through it. I don't know the solution to that, but yeah, it's definitely not the way to do it. And that is the end of that. If you like that video, please like that video, and please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. And I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.